Hey everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome to another process video. So I am using the Maggie Holmes open book collection again on this layout. So this is the pages that came in my October hit kit, and this one, the blue background that I'm going to be using, is not from that collection, and that's an L Studio Sycamore Lane piece, and the page is called Traditions. So everything else is from the Maggie Holmes collection. So just going through my little container there and working out what I might like to use and trying to piece the page together somehow. So as you will see, this one I chop around a lot and change lots of bits and pieces. And I actually have a couple of little elements in here from the Chamel collection as well, but I only end up using one die cut from that collection. So I've just spelled out the word sweetheart, and those blue thickers were from the September hip kit, and so I'm using them in this layout because they match nicely with the little baby's blue top and the blue paper for the background. So this photo is of my daughter and our friend's little boy, and Johanna loves babies, and she's best friends with their oldest little girl who has just turned 4, and she adores Johanna, and Johanna is like a little mum. So she's very kind, very sweet girl, and she loves little children and little babies, so she's holding baby Joseph and loving that she's getting cuddles from him and that he didn't cry on her. So that's what that photo is about. And so I'm matting that photo on a little bit of that lovely yellow and white chevron paper from the Maggie Holmes collection called Little Notes, and you saw me like gut that tiny little mat out. So I want to get every little piece that I can from this collection to be able to stretch the collection as far as I can go and make as many pages as I can from this kit. So I know that I want to, tuck some little bits of yellow into this page, so I figure, that's a perfect size there, and I actually use it twice on this page, so that's worth cutting those little bits and pieces out sometimes. If I've got lots of bits of paper of the same collection, I won't bother, but if I've just got one sheet and I really like it and can see that I would use it a lot, then I don't mind just cutting the little centers out here and there. So I'm just looking through my little owl dish on the side. That piece that I've pulled out, I love everything about this. That was from the 12 by 12 cut apart sheet, and so I really thought that I would add that as well. So this one here is using the yellows because my daughter has a yellow scarf, and the blues for the baby has the blue, and then I've added some pops of pink as well onto the page. And that little black and white piece is from one of the 12 by 12 cutouts as well, and I used some of it on the last layout, and so these are the little strips that I'm adding to this layout as well. So this beautiful pink feathered paper is also from the Maggie Holmes collection called Feathers, and I really find it hard to cut into my brand new pieces of paper. So I mostly use the pieces, the full 12 by 12s as background sheets, but I really decided this time that I loved most of the A's and the B sides. So unless it's a piece of paper that I really don't particularly like one side of it, I'll use that as the background. But if I love both sides, then I decided that I'm just going to work on white cardstock, and that way I can get the best of both sides of the paper. if that makes sense. So I have cut out a hole out of the center for the blue piece, and I've got that ready, and I cut out the feather piece, and I've just put that aside so that I can use the bit that I've cut out of the middle as a bit of a photo mat on this layout. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm talking in another language tonight, and maybe it's because it's getting close to my bedtime. But hopefully I'm making sense to somebody. So just trimming that out, and like I said, instead of wasting so much, I will actually cut the piece that you can't see out of this pink piece of paper as well. So where the photo sits, I'm going to actually trim that down as well, so that I can use that extra piece for layering. And that's the awesome thing about layering, is that you don't need a lot. You just need little strips of paper, so you can actually use the majority of your scraps and other pieces and not waste anything, because you can always nip and tuck your pieces into a layout, and the layering just gives it another element to look at of visual interest, and adds other pops of colour, and just makes it look really good. So I love that part of scrapbooking. So I'm just building up my page, and as I go along it starts to look pretty square. So I don't really want this one to be a perfect square. I want it to be have little pieces poking out everywhere. So you will see that I end up just adding some extra elements to one side and to the top, and that will stop that from looking so square. So there's that little pop of yellow that I've put at the top, and I use the other half just under where that sweetheart is sitting right now. So that was gorgeous paper, both sides. Like I said, really hard to pick which side that I wanted to scrapbook with, because both sides were gorgeous, and different colours, and just different in their own right. So here I've added the little die cut from the Chamel piece. That's that little camera that says clever, and it's not where it will stay, but that's where I'm thinking of putting it for now. So I actually build the layouts up the top, and towards the end I decide that I don't actually like it up there. I've taken it a bit too high, and I end up pulling it apart. So this, like I've said before in one of my other layouts, this sticky tape is great for that, because it doesn't do too much damage when you take it up, as long as you haven't left it overnight. It's pretty easy to remove, so it's good for people like me who like to change their mind, or get to the end and realise I don't really like the way it's looking, and want to add something different, or do something different, change it up a little bit. So there's nothing much going on here that you can't tell, just the building up of layers. And there were lots of, like I said before in that die cut sheet, there were lots of just plain pieces of paper as well, so that not everyone was a patterned piece. They had lots of cream pieces and lots of white based pieces with like textbook pieces. So they were really great just to add a little bit of a different element to the page without adding another colour to it as well. So there I am, I'm adding some depth to the side. So I'm starting to bring that out a little bit on the left hand side, so that it's not so square. And like I said, those layers that I've put up the top and clustered up there, I will end up taking off and having it a little bit more flat on the top, so it's not such a funny shape as it is right now. So just having a look through some of the pieces that I've got in my kit, looking to see what I might like to add, and I decide nothing much, and I'm going to add some splatters like I did in my last layout, and so there you can see I'm just priming up the paint, and so that's a distress paint, and the colour is, I think it's, yep, Victorian Velvet, and so I've just primed that up a little bit, and I get a paintbrush and I'm just wetting the top with a little bit of water. It's only just got water in it, and then I'm, you know, giving it a good whack onto the page, and the paint, you know, really splatters. So, you know, that's a good way of making the paint more fluid, because it's pretty thick paint, but it's a nice colour and it really matched with this layout, and I wanted to use it. So I've mixed up a little bit of, like I did on my last layout, a little bit of orange and a little bit of yellow together, and watering it down with a bit of water so that I can splatter that on the page. So you don't have to splatter with mist that you bought from the shops. If you've got some acrylic paints in your stash, then you know you just need to water them down so that they can splatter easily enough, and you know you can match whatever colour you want to your layout. So just adding this white piece of cardstock now to the background piece, and like I said, I gutted that blue piece out so that I can continue to use that in one of the layouts. So now you see that I put it on and go, oh, oopsies, I've covered every spot. So I don't know what I did. I marked it, but obviously, you know, I gave myself the thumbs down there. I marked it, but however I marked it wasn't quite right. So I actually splattered obviously within the spot and not outside of the spot, so you can't see them. So I have to have another go. But I actually really like the end result of having more than one splatter. I like the result of having quite a few and taking the splatter, making it, you know, a bit deeper. So in the end, that was a bit of a mistake, but it was a happy mistake, and I liked the end result. So just checking to see whether I have come out far enough with the paint, and I might actually go in there and do another splat on the left. I'm not sure at this stage. I might have done that off camera. So going back to this layout, and that's where I removed the layers off the top and decided that I wanted to make it a little bit flatter, which I think worked, you know, much better. So just working out where I want to put that little die cut, and I add a little circular die to the top as well to give that a little bit more interest, a little bit of a different shape, and I put the other half over at the left. So I think I've already stuck that down perhaps. And checking out to see whether I'd like to put a little pop of gold up there, but it didn't really work. And then I found these stickers the other day at Target, and you can see that how many are on that one sheet, and there were 3 sheets in the pack, which gave 30 small hearts and 18 large hearts, and they were $3.50. So Target, our Target here, has never had a scrapbooking line before, and I noticed that they had a whole new scrapbooking line, and the line was called, just having a look, Molly and Mimi. So, you know, if you haven't been to your Target lately and you're in Australia, you might want to check it out and see whether they've bought some scrapbooking lines into your Target as well. So they were quite cheap. Some of it looked cheap and nasty, but some of it was perfectly fine, and these gold love hearts were beautiful. So they were a nice little accent to the page. So I actually added a gold heart where I've got the big heart up the top near Clever. I actually added one of the gold thickers from the Maggie Holmes collection as well, but you don't see that, but you will see it in the photos. I actually just added it after I had done the video because it looked a little bit flat up there, so just adding another little layer of dimension there worked really well, and you'll see that in the stills. So putting on the sweetheart there, and I like the way that it's staggered down a little bit, and now I'm just roughing up the edge of the papers with my fingernail, and I've seen that I meant to add a little strip of black and cream spots underneath, so I'm just sticking that now, and a little bit to the side so that it is in 3 places on the layout. And then I think that it is time for my ink, which says that I'm just about done, except for curling up the paper and just stopping it from being so flat on the page, just giving it a little curl up. I haven't had a paper cut yet, and my nails are short anyway most of the time, so I don't really mind that. And so there I am putting the ink on, and it will be ready to show you some close-ups and some stills. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this layout, and I will see you next time. Bye!